What is up, weather enthusiasts? I'm your host, Pat's Path Predictor. Let's get right into the weather. Alright, so here's the situation we have for you, ladies and gentlemen. We have a lot to talk to you about today with this incoming snowstorm, as well as the ongoing snowstorm that we're continuing to take a look at and pay attention to. I'm also watching a bit more of a long-term threat that we're going to get into in later parts of the video, so be sure you stay tuned for that, especially if you are in the mid-Atlantic and the northeastern United States, especially New England. We have a lot to get to with that. But before we talk about all that stuff, we have our storm code update from John, our head admin at Storms United, just to give you a quick glance as to what we're watching. Here's what we have with the hazards. We still have our hatched code orange, at least as of last night, for parts of Missouri, mainly due to impacts and all of that stuff. We also have a code orange in effect for parts of Arkansas, Tennessee, and Kentucky over here in southern Illinois. I know the majority of the snow has passed by this point, and by the time you are watching this video, it will have passed. But we're still keeping the code orange there, mainly for impacts, because it's going to be a little bit of difficulty getting on the roads and with snowplows and all that stuff. We're also watching reports of, basically because it's been so cold, regular salt hasn't been working on some of the roads because temperatures are dropping below that threshold where salt is the most optimal. Now they're using different mixtures and all that stuff. I was watching the news on it last night before I was recording this video, but ultimately we'll have to see how that pans out. And we still have our code orange in effect for parts of Virginia and North Carolina, as well as the Delmarva Peninsula over here, and we have our code yellow extended from Texas all the way to South Carolina, mainly for wintry precipitation, and we have 2 isolated areas of code yellow for mountain snow. So that's what we're looking at right here so far. We have a lot to go ahead and get into, so let's go ahead and start with the NWS and what they're up to. We have winter storm warnings remaining in effect for parts of Kentucky, West Virginia, North Carolina, and Virginia. Right here, let's go ahead and take a look at what we're looking at in eastern Kentucky real quickly, and then we'll work our way further to the east. Here's what we have going on right here. Let's go ahead and move this over here just so you guys can read it. Here's what we're looking at right here, and I'll go ahead and take a look at this. Periods of snow. Snow accumulations will bring 1 to 4 inches through today and Thursday morning, which will bring total snow accumulation up to 3 to 7. Plan on slippery road conditions. Hazardous conditions could impact the Wednesday morning and evening commutes. That's generally what we're looking at right here for parts of Kentucky. Let's go ahead and move over to Virginia. Let's go ahead and go to Virginia Beach right here. Winter storm warning remains in effect until tomorrow at 6 p.m. Heavy snow expected. Not much of a change right here. Between 5 and 10 inches of snow is possible until 6 p.m. on Thursday. Travel will be very difficult. Hazardous conditions will impact the Wednesday evening and Thursday morning commutes. Do not travel if you are in these winter storm warnings. I want to make that very clear. Unless there's a lot of plows out and all that stuff that's taking care of the roads, I would strongly advise against traveling right here. And I will also want to take a look at the winter storm warning for Richmond right here. 3 to 5 inches of snow is expected. For that part of Virginia, 3 to 5 inches for, I'm sure, a lot of people, but doesn't seem like that much for a winter storm warning. But for that part of Virginia, that is actually quite a lot, because the majority of the snow, if you think about it, mainly is in northern Virginia, especially around the D.C. metro when that happens, and in the mountainous regions in the Appalachians parts of western Virginia. A lot of Richmond does not typically see 3 to 5 inches of snow. I want to make that and stress that, make that clear and stress that to you guys before people start asking, why are they issuing winter storm warnings for just 3 inches of snow? They're not used to 3 to 5 inches of snow. So that's what we're looking at right here. We're also watching winter storm warnings for parts of North Carolina as well. Raleigh is now under a winter storm warning, which is pretty interesting right here. Let's go ahead and take a look at that very quickly. Heavy mixed precipitation. Additional snow and sleet accumulations up to 1 inch. Ice accumulations around 0.2 of an inch in Sampson County, with a trace of around 1/10 in Johnston and Wake counties. So they have extended that winter storm warning further to the south to impact part of the Research Triangle out here in North Carolina. I also want to shift a bit further to the east and see what they're calling for over here. So here's what we have. We have Greenville, which is under a winter storm warning. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on over here. Heavy mixed precipitation, total snow and sleet accumulations up to 1 inch, and ice accumulations between 2/10 and half an inch of ice. If a half an inch of ice falls in North Carolina, that is very concerning, to say the very least. Because if it, like, even a half an inch anywhere is really bad. But North Carolina, especially in areas that are not used to these kinds of wintry precipitations, that is very concerning, to say the very least. And if you're in Virginia, North Carolina, you need to be taking this threat very seriously until it passes tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. So I wanted to stress that and make that clear. If I haven't already. So that's what we have going on with the latest hazards and the latest warnings and all of that stuff. Let's go ahead and move over to the models and kind of give you a general gist as to how this is going to ultimately pan out and what additional snow accumulations are going to be as a result. So here's the precip type. Currently, the snow is moving into Virginia and North Carolina right now. Mainly freezing precipitation is going to be taking part in parts of North Carolina, especially south of Raleigh right here, and even in those areas as well, south of Rocky Mount especially as well. You're looking at the snow system really moving through, really ramping up in terms of the intensity overnight. Now, granted, a lot of this is going to stay out to sea, but if you're in the Outer Banks, you need to be watching this very closely, especially if you're in the northern half of the Outer Banks right here in North Carolina. You could be seeing some very heavy snowfall from this, and that could pile on an extra 2 to 3 inches right there until the freezing precipitation starts to take over a little bit. Then you have this backside right here that's going to be moving through parts of Virginia and North Carolina that's affiliated with the system, but after that it's going to move out to sea, and that's pretty much the end of the snow threat for you right there from the HRRR. Let's go ahead and show you the additional snow accumulations we're looking at right here. With the additional snow accumulation for the HRRR, we're looking at up to 8 inches of snow in West Virginia, especially the Appalachian regions right here, and in Virginia as well. We're looking at up to 6 inches in isolated areas. This is granted, this is mainly in the higher elevation areas. I want to make that very clear. But if you're in Virginia and North Carolina, you could see up to 10 inches of snow from this, especially in Virginia Beach and the northern banks of the Outer Banks of North Carolina. So I wanted to make that clear. If you're near Raleigh, you're looking at 2 to 3 inches of snow. Right here, if you're near Greenville, you're looking at 1 to 2. So we'll have to pay attention and see how this ultimately pans out. Here's what the RAP is showing. The RAP's a little bit more widespread, but generally the same idea. You're looking at 10 inches of snow for parts of West Virginia and the Appalachians, and up to 9 inches of snow in parts of extreme western Virginia, right here where the Appalachian Mountains are. That's where higher elevation is. If you're in Richmond, you're looking at up to 5 inches of snow. If you are in Virginia Beach, looking at up to 8. But the jackpot from the RAP is mainly going to be over northeastern North Carolina, and a region, mind you, that doesn't typically see snowfall at all, let alone almost a foot of snow possible for some of these regions right here. I want to check what the winter storm warning in effect for parts, maybe like Elizabeth City in North Carolina. I want to see what the winter storm warning is in effect for there. 5 to 9 inches of snow. Okay, I just wanted to check that real quickly. But here's what we have going on. Right here, up to a foot of snow according to the RAP. Here is the NAM we have pulled up. The NAM is more concentrated to the north, and that puts Virginia Beach in the line of fire. Areas in the Virginia Beach and Chesapeake could see up to a foot of additional snow accumulation from this, and you're also looking at up to 6 inches of additional snow accumulation in parts of the Appalachian regions right here. Let's go ahead and show you the NAM nest. NAM nest is a similar situation, although it's a bit more concentrated in Virginia and the Delmarva Peninsula right there instead of North Carolina. Let's go ahead and show you the GEM GDPS because the GEM RDPS is broken, unfortunately. The GEM GDPS, let's go ahead and show you the 12Z with this. The GEM GDPS 12Z is coming out, so it's not exactly fully out yet, but by and large, its majority of the snow is concentrated in North Carolina and Virginia. Let's go ahead and show you the European run right here. This is the 6Z European. I do want to preface that very quickly, but by and large, you're looking at up to a foot of snow, additional snow accumulation, and up to 8 inches of snow accumulation in parts of West Virginia in the Appalachians. And lastly, we'll go ahead and show you the GFS. The 12Z GFS is coming out now, mainly concentrated in Virginia and North Carolina. That's where your heavy bands are going to be. So That's the situation we're looking at with the ending part of this snowfall. And we're going to continue to cover this because this is going to be an evolving situation. And I do want to make one more video on this tomorrow as that backside of it starts to move through, as well as some more YouTube shorts showing off some of the videos and all that, which, by the way, if you guys have videos, if you are anywhere in the snowstorm, if you have videos of the snow and how it was falling, please send them to me. And we have a Discord server called Storms United. It's usually we keep it at the end screen, but the link to Storms United is in the description down below. So if you'd like to submit us some videos to be featured on some YouTube shorts, be sure to submit it to Storms United, or you can reach out to me directly at patspathpredictor@gmail.com, and I'll happily take a look at that. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead take a quick look at this stuff that we have right here, and now we're going to go ahead and take a look at our long-term threat. And now I'm sure a lot of you people are wondering right now, okay, you're looking at all this stuff right now, Patrick. What's the main threat going to be going forward? We know winter's going to start ending and wrapping up pretty soon. Technically, yes, but ultimately we're going to have a couple more chances of some pretty big snow. And I've been looking at the long-range runs, and it looks like by around February 26th, we're starting to see some consistency in terms of development. Now, the track and the snow totals are absolutely not set in stone by this. I want to make this absolutely clear. However, we are looking at a scenario right here where we could see another big snowstorm, especially for the mid-Atlantic and the northeastern United States, and I want to cover that just so that way we can get some more data and information. I want to raise your guys' awareness of this because yes, it's going to warm up a little bit next week, but then it's going to get cold again, and then you're going to have this low-pressure system start to organize and develop and potentially hammer parts of the northeastern United States. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Right here, we're going to go ahead and use the 0Z GFS. The 12Z GFS isn't all the way out just yet, but considering the consistency of the runs, we're going to still pay attention to it. So here's what we have going forward right now. We do have a couple of isolated areas and a couple isolated snowstorms, but they are mainly going to be lake effect in nature in parts of Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York. And then you have a small system that moves through from Canada that impacts parts of Wisconsin, Indiana, and those areas right there. That's some stuff that I'm concerned about, but ultimately we'll have to see how that pans out. And those are going to be more like small mesoscale types of systems, whereas this next system is going to be pretty interesting how it develops. It comes from the Pacific Northwest, and according to the GFS, it starts off as your typical Colorado low, except similar to last time too. It dives further to the south towards the Gulf, and it allows more moisture advection to go into it. Ultimately, I will say initially, on the 27th, you're not going to see as much snow as what you will see later on. You're mainly going to be seeing rainfall. Now, I do not know what the severe weather threat with this system is going to be, mainly because A, at this point, this is 8 days out, and B, even if I did have a better idea, I don't know how the convection is going to initialize. I don't know if it's going to be kind of like what we saw yesterday, where we saw a bunch of convection, but nothing really that severe, kind of like that blobular type of stuff, or if it's going to be more organized and more discrete. I do not know either of those right now. I'll keep you updated on that. But as time continues to go on, you're starting to see that cold layer start to build up more and more and more right here. And then by the time it gets to the Appalachian Mountains, it really starts to bring in a lot of snow, some very heavy snow, mind you, as well as the system organizes and develops. And then it starts to emerge towards the southwestern Atlantic Ocean and develops into this nor'easter type of storm where it really starts to hammer a lot of areas like DC, Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, the New England area as well. We're going to have to watch that. And this is mainly a coastal type of setup that the GFS has. The European has something similar, except it's further inland, and that's something we're going to have to pay attention to. Now, granted, we have seen this before. The last system this far out did have the system becoming a nor'easter and moving into New England, but this time's a bit different. From what I've been seeing from climatological models, we're looking at a much stronger Greenland high compared to what we were seeing previously, and what that's ultimately going to do is it's kind of act as a blocking pattern Because with this system that's moving through right now, the Greenland high kind of weakened and decayed a little bit, and that's allowing for this system to move out to sea and not impact New England. But in this case, the Greenland high is going to be stronger, and it's going to give it a better chance for it to move into the northeast and bring serious impacts over there. So we're going to have to pay attention to that, and I'll keep you updated. On the climatological side, there's a lot of factors in meteorology. There's mesoscale, there's synoptics, dynamical, climatological. We'll keep you updated on a lot of that real quickly, and I'll do my best to simplify it as best as I can. So that's what we're looking at right here. Let's go ahead and show you some very, very early snow accumulations, mind you. Here's what we're looking at. Now, granted, I want to make this very clear before I elaborate on this. This is obviously not set in stone. This is just one model run. I'm just presenting it to you guys, and you can jump to your own conclusions on that. But here we go. We're looking at, based on what I'm seeing, potentially up to a foot of snow in parts of D.C., 13 to 15 inches in parts of Baltimore, almost 20 inches in Philadelphia. I know, where have we heard this story before? 18 inches in New York, where have we heard this story before? And almost 20 inches of snow in Boston. Again, where have we heard this story before? Now, granted, this is obviously too far out to really gauge other than an early projection. But that's what we're looking at right here. And I'll go ahead and show you the 12C from yesterday to kind of give you a general gist. 12C from yesterday did have a similar setup, except it was much further inland. So the 0Z just put the jackpot a few hundred miles further to the south towards the coast right here. That's your classic nor'easter setup right here. And let's go ahead and show you the European. The European and the GFS of the 0Z were in general, the European 0Z is pretty much in agreement with the 12Z GFS, I'm noticing. It's mainly keeping the majority of the snow further up to the north, like towards northern Pennsylvania, New York, and a lot of New England right here, keeping Boston, New York City, Philly, Baltimore, and D.C. out of the line of fire. But you're going to want to watch this because this system has been pretty consistent over the last couple of days. I've been watching the trends with this. I've been keeping a very close eye on that a whole thing right there. I've been keeping very close tabs on it. It's been very consistent in terms of, hey, something is going to happen. You're going to want to pay attention to it. Keep a close eye on it. And just out of curiosity, I do want to see if the GEM GDPS is showing something similar, just to kind of give you a general gist of what we're potentially looking at. Here's what you have for the GEM GDPS run right here. GEM GDPS has a system on the 26th. That's the one I was talking to you about previously. And then they really don't have that much going on. So granted, it is just one model run. I want to make that perfectly clear. The 12Z GEM GDPS is coming out, but the European and the GFS are in some sort of agreement that something is going to be happening more long term. Now, granted, it is too far out to determine what's going to happen, so I want to make that perfectly clear. However, this is still something to watch, especially in areas that have been impacted by by this kind of snowfall before. I do want you guys to watch this. And now, granted, it may not be exactly what the GFS is going for right here. I hope it's not that case, but we'll have to see how it pans out. And then the GFS wants even another snowstorm to develop 300 hours out through much of the Midwest into the Mid-Atlantic, similar to what we had around March 2nd, March 4th. I don't think that's going to happen at this current point unless I see more evidence and more data. Let me go ahead and see what the 12C was going for just to check. And then, okay, it actually has something happening. But granted, this is just one model, and we're just kind of messing around at this current point. But there are a few key takeaways I want you to take away from this upcoming system I am watching. Number one, the European, the GFS have been consistent with it. If you see consistency in the model runs, start paying more attention to it. When I first saw these scenarios a couple of days ago, I was thinking, yeah, this is a little outlandish. We're not sure if this is going to pan out or not. I'll keep tabs on it. But then I started seeing more and more runs indicating similar setups. And I was like, okay, something might be going on right here. It might not exactly pan out the way that it might from these runs, but something's going on here. Number two, regardless of what snow or what rain you guys get, you still need to be prepared for this kind of weather. And with that, I will continue to keep you updated here on the Pat's Path Predictor channel. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and close the video out right here. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. The goal, as always, is to get more people engaged with weather. If you want to come hang out with us at Storms United and submit videos of the snow that you guys have gotten, be sure to join the Storms United Discord server. The link is in the end screen. Also, shout out to Daniel as an official sponsor of the Pat's Path Predictor channel. If you want to support the channel more directly, be sure to join the Pat's Path Predictor Patreon. It's the first link in the description down below. And with that being said, have a wonderful day, guys. Stay safe.